This is Gary Atencio with CNTV, and today we're in California exploring the frontier of regenerative medicine. Imagine a technology that doesn't just mask pain, but actually talks to your cells, recharging your biological batteries and accelerating the healing process without drugs or invasive surgery. I'd like to welcome to Consumer News the Director of Provider Services. Brooke, thanks so much for joining us here today.
Thank you so much for having me, Gary.
Let's start off a little bit about yourself here. I mean, Brooke, the visionaries you work with are proving that the future of healthcare isn't just a pill in a bottle. I mean, it's in the power of light. Share with us how the organization of Light MD was a good fit for you and how and why you got involved with them.
Absolutely. So I've been involved with them and the inventor of this technology since early 2000. And in the device was created actually after a study came out from NASA that red light healed wounds in space. And then they followed it with another study a couple years later about near infrared light maintaining bone density in space. And so what this machine does is it uses both red and near infrared light to stimulate mitochondria of the cells and accelerate healing. And why I chose Light MD is because that was the first technology that I used, but it's also the same technology that 7 years later saved my life. And so I fully trust them. It's literally the most sophisticated and advanced, and it was 2 decades ahead of its time.
Wow. Wow. 2 decades ahead of its time. Here we are today. Your organization is committed to advancing human health through light. Can you explain, first of all, what is photobiomodulation, and does this differ, I would imagine, from many other things out there?
It sure does. So photobiomodulation, let's break that down into 3 parts. Photo, meaning light or photons of light. Bio means it works on anything living, human, plant, animal, and modulation because it has an effect on the systems and tissues in the body. And so you combine those 3, meaning light works on humans and animals and plants, and it has an effect, meaning it can stimulate cellular repair, like I said, decrease inflammation and increase circulation. So you're literally helping to regenerate cells. And the power of healing comes to us because of that cellular level of repair. We have trillions of those. And being able to stimulate those without the UV portion of the light, which is the damaging and the ionizing light. So this red and near infrared in the spectrum, the wavelengths that we use is all non-ionizing. And so we even with Light MD, we use red or near infrared, red, green, blue, and violet light. And they're separate pads that are all different indicated uses.
I mean, wow, hook me up, Scotty. That sounds exciting. For the viewer at home out there who might confuse this with a simple heat lamp or maybe tanning beds, touch on how PBM light energy kind of triggers a chemical change in human tissue. I mean, does it require some intensity level, I imagine, that is pretty extreme?
Great question. So not all light is created equal. And being that I've been in this industry for 2 years, that's an important fact. It used to be that light wasn't known and people thought I was a snake oil salesman by doing this and light wasn't even around. But now that it's more prevalent, people have the face masks, they have the little wands, and like you said, the tanning bed style. That light is very different. To reach the photobiological effect, you have to have a certain amount of sustained energy and power behind the light over a period of time. And so if those, let's just say like a panel, if that's 6 inches, because you can't be touching it, so 6 inches away, you're going to get a lot of reflection and refraction off the skin, which is 3 layers. That's going to be good for circulation and for the skin and skin repair, but it's really not going to go deep. What we focus on is going deep by having the pads conforming to the body because they're flexible. And because they're 3D flexible, we have a patented system with Light MD and the pad delivery, which has been improved over the last 2 decades. And so that really allows the pads to rest on the body and get that light in through the skin and in deeper. And what that's going to do is reach that chemical reaction in the body, which is photochemical. You know, our bodies are electric, they're biological, chemical, and physical. And so we need all of those. And the chemistry in it is what happens when the mitochondria absorbs light through cytochrome C. It's a chromophore, and there's a narrow window where it's able to absorb these wavelengths of light. And then that stimulates the process of releasing nitric oxide, adding calcium cation, and being able to freshly oxygenate the cells. And that is a process that our bodies already know how to do without us. It's just an automatic thing that happens. But if you're able to stimulate it with the right amount of energy and the right power, then you're going to get the fastest results and safely.
So we're talking that thing conforms to your body, gets penetrated in. Modern medicine, I mean, often relies on painkillers that simply block signals to the brain. I mean, how does LightMD shift that paradigm from pain management to tissue regeneration? I mean, are we actually fixing the source of the problem rather than just silencing the alarm?
You nailed it. I go for the root cause all the time. Inflammation is pain, and that could be what the symptoms you're feeling like, my back hurts, my knee hurts, there's pain. But inflammation is the real root cause. And this machine is so excellent for reducing that inflammation. And that could be acutely from injuries or arthritis. And it can also be systemically. And to address the pain, we can address it on the area of inflammation and injury, or we can address it through the brain. You know, the pain in the body is sending, there's a signal, and it's, I think it's 1.6 electron microvolts. And if we are able to interrupt that pain signal by having a higher frequency and addressing that through the brain, we can relax it both in the body and through the brain. And you're really relaxing it through the nervous system. So you're calming the nervous system down and enabling the body to get to switch modes into rest, relax, and relieve. And so that's what we're really good at with this LightMD technology.
Wow. I can see why you thought this technology was 2 decades ahead of its time. I mean, many of your clients come to you after failing with physical therapy or even surgery. Does the PBM process work on chronic, long-term inflammation that maybe other modalities seem to miss?
It sure does. And that's by cumulative effort. So if a client comes to us once, we're not going to erase 10 years of chronic pain. I like to tell our clients that for every year that they've been in pain, give me 1 month. And that's just to give them patience. It won't take me 10 months to help to alleviate 10 years of chronic pain, but that gives them an idea that it's been 10 years that you've been dealing with no luck with medications, surgeries, and more invasive techniques where it might take me 3 to 4 months. But in reality, that's a lot less than the 10 years that it's taken in pain. Some things we can do a lot faster, but cumulative sessions, if people can come 3 days a week for just the first 2 weeks and then do consistent treatments after that, we usually nail their pain down pretty quickly. And I can change somebody's life in less than a month when I'm applying this. So it's incredible for doctors and practitioners, pain management specialists, and even nowadays, what's even more popular are these regenerative medicines. So using orthobiologics like peptides and stem cells, the results of those working can happen faster and more efficiently by using the light therapy to give the energy for those processes to happen. So as the medical industry is getting more, I guess, natural with peptides and PRPs and stem cells and using more biologics, this light is fitting excellently in there because it's accelerating that and giving the people faster results.
A cumulative approach. I mean, because honestly, you didn't get in a condition like that overnight, so you're not going to get pulled out overnight. It takes a little bit of time, but like you say, in a month, people can definitely, it can be a game changer. Not only those with chronic issues, but you have a significant following in the athletic community. How are high performance athletes using LightMD to shorten their downtime between workouts? And can light therapy actually maybe even prevent injuries before they happen.
Absolutely, it sure can. We have used LightMD. Our medical advisor, Dr. Joseph Leahy, worked with Olympic athletes. And one of the teams he was contracted with ended up winning their first gold medal at the Rio Olympics in swimming because they were optimizing their performance with LightMD. And then after that, they ended up building a 50,000 square foot facility. So not only do we know it works, we also use it with Ironman triathletes, improving their outcomes, and everyday athletes. I just had a baseball player in my clinic who we're helping. But we can do the performance side of things by increasing energy to the tissues, to the major muscle groups. And there's published studies to back this up as well. But also, if you want to help with the lungs and the oxygenating of those muscles, we can treat the lungs before an event. We can also work on the brain. So you can get, if you have anxiety or a problem focusing, we can prime the brain before performance. And it's not just athletes that can use this. We have CEOs, we have police officers, we have judges, anybody that wants to prime their brain and help it fire on all fronts. And if you can imagine, like a professional golfer, that takes a lot of focus. So being able to get their mind into this tune of light where everything, they're thinking clearly, they're making quick decisions. And then on the other side, after a performance, being able to warm down. You don't necessarily always want to cool down if you have another event coming, but being able to warm those muscles down in transition. And then on the other side of the recovery is sore, stiff muscles, stiff joints, inflammation. If you've got to play football and it got a bad hit or a concussion, we can help that. And then also to balance the chemistry of extra lactic acid. So you're able to perform better, like maybe say more repetitions or run faster, hit the ball further, and then also recover better on the other side. And then like you touched on with preventing injuries, if there's adhesions, like somebody has a tough soccer match and they get slide tackled, well, it'll definitely be a bruise and a contusion, but that doesn't have to necessarily turn into an injury. If you get light on it right away, those things almost become a non-event. And I have several cases of that if anybody wants to know. But it's fantastic with preventing injuries as they actually just happen. It makes them not get entirely swollen and starts the healing process right away. Instead of icing it, freezing it, getting inflamed and going through our normal process of healing, which is going to be a little bit slower, we get it going right away, stimulating and accelerating that inflammatory process rather than taking it away. You just speed it up and it's accelerating the natural healing process.
Interesting. Wow. I mean, we're talking for your entire body, including priming your brain. I mean, what a great thing. So walk us through this a little bit. When a patient sits down for a LightMD session, I mean, what are they actually experiencing? Is there heat, vibration? Is there a sensation? How long does a typical session take to achieve a therapeutic dose?
So with our technology, we offer between 20-minute sessions and 20-minute programs and 1-hour sessions. And it's excellent because there's about 45 20-minute programs in here and then about 20-hour-long sessions. And most people will do the 40 minutes to an hour. And that's primed because it's a medical device. And it's figured out where the temperature won't exceed a certain temperature. So it's not a burn risk. You go into a nice relaxing room and it depends who the practitioner is. This can be in a busy doctor's office, in a PT, and it has 2 outputs. So one patient can be doing to the pads on their ankle and the other one can be doing it on the brain. In my clinic in Southern California, I have private rooms. And so the clients will receive both outputs of light. And it could be both knees that they do or a hamstring and a low back. So you're doing 2 areas of the body at once. Most people, Gary, they fall asleep. They get a superb power nap and they have a warming sensation. Now, heat is different from photochemical. And so what happens is when these pads are resting on the body, whether like this, you could do the core of the body, you can do the gut, we can do the lungs. When they're resting on the body, you actually feel warmth. And the heat is a byproduct. It's the increase of circulation that's happening in the body that creates that heat. And then, but the mechanism isn't heat, although our clients will leave feeling nice and warm and good because it's coming from inside. It's not like a heating pad where it's surfaced down. It's coming from your deep, deep inside of the body. Yeah. And that feels good. So most people take a nap. And then the even best part of this is that it continues working in the body for 2 days. When people leave, they're not even done. Like most often they'll get better results the following morning and the second morning after that. And then we hit it with light again and then keep accelerating those results.
So really, I mean, it sounded soothing, just you speaking about it. Sounds relaxing. As consumers out there, I mean, one of the biggest concerns with any new technology is side effects. Since LightMD is non-ionizing, it's drug-free, are there any major side effects, or is this a therapy that truly is safe for everyone, from seniors to elite athletes?
Yes, I kind of chuckle at this one. Our biggest side effect is dehydration. It's not like medications where they list a long laundry list of your arm might fall off and death. This is you might get dehydrated. And that's if people don't drink water. If you drink enough water and you kick it up a little while you're doing your light, you'll be good. The worst case, I'd suggest getting an IV, but most people can, we can help the water ourselves. So that's a very, very easy. And then we don't treat cataracts, and we don't treat cancer, and we don't treat pregnant women. But other than that, we have doctors who are oncologists that do treat cancer with their patients. So it really depends on the professional and who's using it.
I'll take a little dehydration any day compared to those commercials we all see from pharma out there where there's so many things that can happen to you. I mean, just overwhelming. I mean, the market's currently flooded with cheap handheld red light devices. I mean, obviously, LightMDs is a professional grade technology in terms of power, depth of penetration, clinical effectiveness. I mean, this is really quite different from the gadgets that people are finding out there. Even beyond just muscle and joint pain, LightMD is used for wound healing and even skin health. Does stimulating collagen and cellular turnover help with everything from surgical recovery to even, what about anti-aging?
Oh yeah, that's a big thing. And I think that's why the face masks got super popular, is because we all want to look beautiful, and even more so as we age. And so that is where this became popular. And originally that's where we started with LightMD too. We were doing scars like on people's knee replacement, and so on their knee. And then we started realizing that not only did the scar go away, but the stiffness went away. And that's really how we discovered also that it was going further than skin deep. The science was there, but some of our first original clients 20 years ago were like, hey, this is doing more than just the surface. So we have programs in each of these machines. We actually there's a pro model, which is called the Derma Pro. And that one is built for dermatologists and med spa. And it has more of the skin conditions for healing, normalizing lines and wrinkles, and firming skin. So we can do that. Also for scars and surgery recovery. So right now we have several clients who are recovering from spine surgery, and this is just making their lives so much better because of the inflammation, the pain, but also in the scars themselves and the surgical scars. And so being able to repair the collagen, or to increase collagen production, that doesn't just help the surface, that helps us in our joints as well.
What a wide array of people this can actually help. Not just patients, but athletes, but people in wellness, people for their skin. Brooke, as you look at the healthcare trends of 2026, people are increasingly desperate for non-opiate pain solutions. What is your ultimate goal for LightMD? I mean, do you see this becoming a standard of care in every hospital and training facility in the country?
I'm so glad you asked that. Yes. Absolutely. This machine is hospital grade. And so it was designed to be in hospitals, and we are in hospitals in other countries. We haven't quite crossed the red tape or had a hospital executive be quite daring enough here in the USA, but I'm saying it out loud. This is designed for hospitals. And if we had a little bit more forward thinking here, this can be in every department, because that's what we're seeing in other countries. We are doing our research at the hospitals. We have a study on depression, on post-op knee replacement, stroke recovery, and Alzheimer's and dementia. And so, and we actually did our studies to get FDA approved. We were working in the renal department, working with kidneys. And so we know what this machine can do. The doctors know, and it's time for it to be in the hospitals in the US so that every person has access to this. And I'm not saying every person needs to go to the hospital, but if we could do care clinics, senior care facilities, urgent care, everybody needs access to this, and it is sustainable. It is absolutely cost effective, and it feels good, and it works, and it does not get people, well, it's hard to say, because once you try the light, you don't want to stop. I would say not addictive, but this is the good kind. It's a good thing because it feels right and it's healthy for you. So once people try it, they want to incorporate more light into their lives.
How exciting. So we're talking about preventative. We're talking on the back end. Westerners, pick up the pace, do better, and get this out there for people to have. Viewers, let's take a look at the bottom of the screen right there. What you're going to see is our website where you can learn more about this light therapy that is hailed by doctors, researchers, athletes, and beauty specialists around the world. You too can experience the difference. Once again, that is Light MD. Light therapy with deep tissue and whole organ penetration for unparalleled results. This is Gary Atencio with CNTV, and if you don't know, now you know.